Hey, Steve Magnante here in Bogart, Georgia at the Tony Townley Collection, which will be sold on October 24th and 25th, 2025 by Richmond Auctions. Every one of these vehicles will be selling, including this exotic 1962 Pontiac Catalina 421 Super Duty. Now, the thing is, the GM full-size cars were fairly heavy, a body-on-frame construction, so GM, like Ford, had to really cut weight where they could. This was built with aluminum hood, aluminum bumper up front, and a lot of exotica under the hood. Now, the 421 is an outgrowth of 389 Pontiac's V8 engine, but with that said, this is no ordinary 421. This is a Super Duty engine with dual quads and 405 underrated horsepower. Let's take a peek at the mighty Super Duty 421 in its lightweight Catalina. And we have to remember that a standard Catalina with a steel nose and steel everything would probably about 3,700 pounds. So to shed about 300 pounds of that, maybe even 4, Pontiac went to aluminum for the hood, the bumper, yeah, that's aluminum, and the fenders were still steel. You can see the difference between the steel and the aluminum. With that said, those were ways to shed weight. The hood was probably worth about 30 pounds less than a steel hood, and then the bumper here, probably 30 pounds lighter than the steel factory chrome bumper. So trickery at work right here to reduce the weight of the car for better acceleration. Okay, here it is, the 421 Super Duty. And speaking of aluminum, the intake manifold on this, of course, has 2 4-barrel carbs. Once again, aluminum intake manifold right there. A couple of Carter AFBs, probably about 600 CFM each, so 1,200 total CFM, something like that, plenty of breathing capacity. Of course, the Super Duty engines had deep groove pulleys on the alternator and also on the water pump and crank pulleys to keep them retained at, 6,000 RPM race speed. And something really exotic on this car is the fact that these have aluminum exhaust manifolds. I'll come around over here. You can see the manifolds are actually streamlined and very reduced back pressure, but the aluminum on these things goes all the way down to the bottom. There's even a bolt-on cap. You can uncork these things and pick up 15 or 20 horsepower versus blowing through the mufflers. So basically, Pontiac was looking for every angle and every edge they could find. Of course, the big competition for this car would have been the Max Wedge Mopars, 409 Chevys, and of course the 427 Galaxies. So these guys are in there swinging. Detroit battled the big three, duking it out on the drag strips of America. Let's look inside this one and see what we find. And as befitting a dual quad aluminum bumpered, aluminum hooded drag car, of course, 4-speed manual transmissions. The Super Duty program was all about manual transmissions, no automatics. And again, it's interesting to see the full width bench seat up front, not buckets, but again, fairly a combination of a form and function. But again, the 4-speed is the aluminum case, Borg Warner T10, heavy duty piece. I see 20,646 miles on this car. This is the original paint on this car. It's been very well cared for, very much pampered throughout its life, and a great example of a lightweight factory super stocker from the early 60s, the dawn of super stock drag racing, right here. Pontiac's quest for lightweight extended beyond the front bumper and the hood with the aluminum. Also, the rear bumper, also made of aluminum. Again, probably shed about 30 or 40 pounds versus the chrome-plated steel unit used in production on normal Catalinas. This is no normal Catalina. Let's pop the trunk and see what we find inside. Yeah, a lot of cool documentation. And one thing too, this car does have 8-lug wheels. That's the spare wheel right there, which goes with the car, obviously. And if you get a flat tire with the 8-lug wheels, there's an adapter plate. This thing right here, which you use that in a tire machine at the gas station on the country road, can use their tire machine to trap the wheel and change the tire if you get a flat tire with the 8-lug wheel package, which is what this car has. Getting back to that, this car has, this is the window sticker right here. And it was sold out of Edwards Motor Company in Canton, Ohio. You can see here that it has the Super Duty motor, which was a $1,342 package with the dual quads and the 4-speed Synchromesh 4-speed safety track differential, $42. Bottom line on this was $4,436.48. So again, I'd have bought 10 of these things if I could back in the day. I'd be a multimillionaire today. But anyway, this is a very uncommon and rare car, and a total of 162 Super Duty Catalinas were built in 1962, and this is one of them. A beautiful example. Original paint, with the exception of the hood, but again, it's been resprayed beautifully. It fits right in. Again, aluminum panels original to this car, and it's a very crisp example of the breed. A rare opportunity to obtain one of these cars coming up at auction.